All right. What's up, folks? Out there at Plastic Galaxy Toy Store. Hope you guys are doing well today on this Sunday, December 27th, 2020. Getting ready to round out the year, as we say, here in a few days. Hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. Doing it live tonight at 7 p.m. Central. That's in 4 hours, so get ready. Got some good stuff, some more new to us vintage stuff coming at you, and some modern stuff as well, as always. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me know how you're doing in the comments section below, and we will see what's going on today out there in the land of Oz, so to speak. Audio okay? Can you hear me fine? How's the audio sound? Give me a second. Let's see here. You do an audio check. Anybody out there, let me know if you hear me okay. And we got a few people. Sunday's kind of a weird day. Everybody's doing their family thing, but I get it. No biggie. Let's see if we're doing okay. Let me just check over here. See if we're doing okay. Let me just check over here. Let's see. See if we're doing okay. Let me just check over here. Let me see if we got you. Check one. See if we're doing okay. Let me just check over here. Okay, I think we're good, audio wise. Let me see if we got you. Check one. See if we're doing okay. Let me just check over here. Oh, cool, perfect. It was very good, Anthony. Thank you for asking. It was good Christmas. Good Christmas. Sounds good. Hello, Adam, Gregory, DC. Sorry, I can't pronounce that. Dimajar, maybe. Cool. Gino, what's up? Good thing you hear me. Great, wonderful, lovely, love it, love it, love it. Sounds good, says Lee. Perfect. I've been going back and forth through some microphone stuff over the last several years, and just always finally settled on this. I hope this sounds good. I'll go back and check it out in a little bit. I want to make sure I'm not blowing you guys out and not sounding overmodulated and getting all roar, you know. Anyway, there you go. All right, perfect. Well, had a good Christmas. Hope you guys did too. Anybody get any good Christmas gifts, gift certificates, gift cards, all that good stuff, right? Awesome. So we've got some for tonight's sale, which is at 7 o'clock, as always. I've got some new vintage stuff, as mentioned earlier. Some carded stuff. And some cool stuff too, because it's some really value stuff, you know, for a kind of a budget for a few items for somebody who wants to, not break the bank for some what these items are. We've also got some modern stuff as well. We've got some movie posters. I've got 2 more movie posters we got going up. Some nice stuff, some all vintage. We've got a few modern items maybe we'll throw out there here and there, but lots of vintage loose. Some promotional stuff, some good stuff, man. We've got some interesting items on slate for us tonight, as always. The challenge for me is always finding cool stuff, right? Either in storage that I've got that I forgot about, or finding it out amongst everybody else. So it's just become a challenge to I've got some Transformers, bunch. The problem is, and I've said this every damn time, and it's not an easy problem to fix, is I've got, like, for instance, look, Jetfire, right? Gorgeous Jetfire. Nice white. Check this out. Gorgeous white Jetfire, right? I've got the accessories for them. I just don't know specifically where they're at. And that becomes the problem with this stuff is, obviously, it's a huge difference between loose as is, which is still a gorgeous Jetfire, right? But with accessories, obviously, that makes it a whole nother ballgame, right? So I'm trying to locate all that stuff. And it's just a nightmare, because some of the G1s, the more obscure ones that maybe I don't remember so much about, I got to go look the stuff up and figure out what goes to what. And that itself can be a challenge. They make, 5 billion accessories for one item, right? But there it is. G.I. Joe, there you go. Yeah, man, I've got a lot of diversity. It's just that everybody wants Star Wars, and that's fine. But I'll do what I can and see if I can round up some other stuff. But there's like I said, that dude, You know, I've got a little bit of everything. I've got a bunch of He-Man stuff running around. Like I said, I got accessories for all these guys too. I got to figure them out. There's Battle Armor Skeletor, Battle Damage Skeletor, I should say, or whichever version you want to talk about. Pair of pliers, vintage. Star Wars card. I've got some Star Wars carded tonight, 7 p.m. Central. I got 4 carded figures we're gonna put out there. I got one 12 back, a 21 back, Power of the Force, and a Jedi. No, is that right? No, 2 Power of the Force, 12 back, and 21 back. Okay, there you go. I should say 20 back, not 21. Almost the same thing. But yeah, I mean, and then, you know, I mean, like, I've got parts, I got to find the accessories. I mean, it's gorgeous, like I said. It's really nice Grimlock, right? I got the accessories, just got to find them. Because I hate to sell this thing. Then the accessories, I got to go find it. Damn it, I got the accessories for it. Then it's like, you know, it's just, I like selling stuff complete. It just makes it much easier for me. Although, if you part these things out, it's like a car. You can sell them for more. I just don't like messing with that because it just takes too long and takes just a lot more shipping. You ship one of these items complete, 1 box. Ship this item complete. Ship individual items for this damn thing. You got 10 boxes, right, or whatever it may be. I don't know, 5 or 6. Anyway, there you have it. R2s, man. You know what? I did have some R2s tonight. Nothing carded. Nothing extravagant. I think I've got some laying around that I saw the other day. Let me fix this real fast. Swear I need a fucking wardrobe department for some of this shit. I don't like messing with audio stuff and everything. Even though I've done it, it's just a pain in the ass. Anyway, there we go. Okay, you don't care about accessories? Well, if I can find some that don't have accessories, those I'll be willing to depart with. Because, I mean, they're not as much, obviously. But, you know, if I don't have accessories. Like, for instance, like, we've got back here Minosaur. And I've got a few other ones. Superion, I think. Well, he's up there. And I'm pretty sure I don't have the accessories for those. So those would be ones I'd be willing to let go of. You got this guy over here, of course, like this one. A lot of the combiners I don't have accessories for, or I don't have them complete. So those would be ones I'd definitely be willing to let go of because I'm just going to find the parts for them is just ridiculous. You know, I mean, I get in the same boat as everybody else. Is just like, you know, I'm not going to go part that stuff out. What else do I got? And I got some, of course, really badass. These are awesome. Of course, some Super 7s and, of course, classics He-Man stuff. And this is just a small sampling of items that, you know, I've got to pull out of storage. Every time I go grab something out of storage, it ends up being more stuff. I'm like, how did I keep all this stuff? Blow them all out. Bundle, he says. Some of those I will. With the ones that I don't have accessories for, it doesn't. I'm not going to wait to find the pieces. So I would end up just doing that on a lot of those. Like, you know, Prime, like something like that. You know, didn't have the trailer in decent shape. A little piece missing there. I mean, I don't care. This is just good display stuff. But will not sell this though because I've told this story many times. There's my childhood Boba Fett, right? For those that don't know, there it is, complete with the Chewed Rocket by yours truly. That was one of my doings back in the day. But that was my, I think one of only a couple items I had left from my childhood. So pretty cool. And I'll show you another story. I like stories, so check this out. This is another. I don't keep a whole lot of stuff, but I keep some stuff that I find. Memories. So I have memories as a kid, as most people do, of you know, going to the store. I remember one day I was sick, and you know, when you're sick, you know, parents a lot of times they're trying to cheer you up. They'll buy you a little gift, you know. So I was sick, probably a cough or a cold, not feeling good, and my dad went into Montgomery Ward and bought me a speeder bike, which, you know, everybody knows like this, right? Pardon me. So I have a memory attached to this piece. Not this specific one because the one I have is long gone. But I happened to find this online years ago. I was just looking for a speeder bike, right? Just want a speeder bike, you know, because I just had that memory. But this one actually has the Montgomery Ward tag on it that I would have bought at that store, because that's cool to me, right? So then I kind of put that together with this. You get 2 Montgomery Ward tags for these items, which kind of makes a little set. I like the association there, right? This one's unopened or factory sealed, and the cool thing about these, if you get into these aren't crazy expensive. A couple $100 for a nice sealed speeder bike, right? Minimal flap grease on that, so it's pretty tough to get in that shape, Anyway, pretty cool. Those are kind of items that I've had for a while that I kind of have attachments to because of sentimental stuff, but I really don't get attached to the real expensive stuff because then I'll never want to sell it. But anyway, so I got a couple posters out tonight. I have not in a long time. I have come across them in the past. They're usually incomplete, but a lot of people don't know that there are easy pieces to complete that. The X-Wing cannons are the same ones they use as the gun on top turret on the Palatoy, and I think Tall Toys or whatever versions of the Death Star there. But no, it's a tough one to get a hold of, and really a superior one, in my opinion, design-wise, to the Kenner version, because what's up, Tuscan TV? Because, excuse me, it was the playability, right? The cross section of the Kenner Death Star was just pretty much you got what you got. The elevator and all that was it. With the Palatoy one and I think Tall Toys did one as well. In Australia, you had an actual different areas, like you had like the chute that went down and had the cannon up top. It was just a superior example, albeit cardboard, wasn't plastic, but I liked it. I never got it, obviously, because that was a foreign release, or I should say UK or Australian release, but it's cool. I have seen them. I usually find them incomplete, and if they come with a box, they're expensive, even more with the box, obviously, but it's one of those really cool pieces. If you can get a really good one, it's pretty tough to get hold of. Yeah, they did have them, around. I don't remember them. It was probably a little. I remember seeing the original Death Star. I should say the Kenner Death Star was there a couple times, but in Canada, of course, yeah. I never saw them here, obviously, but they're super cool. I mean, I wanted one for a long time personally, but it would just tough to find a decent one that wasn't beat up and had all the cardboard issues. Because they were played with, it was cardboard, not plastic, too. Plastic usually takes more of a beating, right, than plastic can. More than cardboard, rather. But no, those are awesome, really cool. I'd like to have one. I'd like to have one. I'd like to have one. I probably wouldn't keep it because they're expensive, man, and some people go crazy over those. So it's one of those. I'd like to have it, kind of have my time with it, and move it on. But yeah. So anyway, some cool stuff tonight. Like I said, we got 4 Carter figures. We got 2 movie posters, 2 vintage movie posters, 1 Star Wars related, 1 non-Star Wars related. Some really cool stuff, really iconic titles, and we've got what else? Some loose complete. I've got with some card backs, I believe. Some other ad related stuff. Some really cool, interesting items there. So like I said, about 20 items ish again. And I've got a couple modern pieces I'll throw out there as well that I've found. See if I can get those out. If I make some notes, and I'll do some Transformers, some loose, incomplete ones. I've got a couple of them I can part with that I don't mind. But yeah. How was everybody else's Christmas? I remember somebody asked me earlier about Christmas, and I said we had a good time with some family stuff and. Got off the internet, watched some TV, or watched some movies. Everybody else have a good Christmas in your neck of the woods? Let's see something fast. And this day is just going by fast, actually. Woke up and about 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and I already stayed home and got drunk. Whoa, done that before. Short and sweet, lots of stuff here. Good. Good Christmas, good. Coming into the new year, lots of snow. First Christmas with cool weather here in years. Wow. Yeah, it snowed the week before Christmas here. A decent amount of snow too. And there's another chance of snow on New Year's Eve. Regardless, it's going to rain, snow, sleet, hail, not sleet, hail, but freeze or what have you. Awesome. Still super chill. Good. Sounds like everybody had fun. I know a lot of people went out and saw the Wonder Woman movie, which I kind of wanted to do that. Then I didn't really think about it anymore, but I heard some interesting reviews on that. But I'll probably go see it at some point or watch it on HBO Max or whatever outlet it's on. But no, pretty much the same here. Chill. Nothing big. I mean, really, I don't know about everybody else. This year, Christmas just kind of eh. I mean, and depending upon how you celebrate Christmas or why you celebrate Christmas, it may not matter. But you just feel like it's just kind of like, just already kind of a cloud hanging over it, kind of a thing, and it just didn't feel like the same, you know. But it is what it is, you know. I mean, it's just hopefully next year's better. You should check out a recent Toy Horde by Sarge and Red's YouTube channel. Several videos. Okay, I'll check it out. Christmas on the Couch in the Country. Oh, a second. Totally agree. Was it Christmas? I mean, it's just weird, right? Oh wow, that's cool. Yeah, I always like looking at that stuff. It's interesting when we talk about, or when people bring that stuff up, and I'm not using that as a specific example because I don't know, but I used to, like, say years ago. I mean, I don't know, a long time ago. I can't remember when, but I would get so like, wow, that's awesome, and it totally is awesome. It's just when I can't explain the difference, but I can't really. It'd be like whatever field you're in, call it I don't know, whatever line of work you're in that you do for a long time. After a while, you get really just you're like, wow, that's cool, but you see it happen so much, and you mess around with it so much, you don't really get jaded by it, but you get to the point to where it's kind of like, it's almost common because you're in that headspace all the time. And where the people on the outside of it that have their normal job, whatever it may be, they see it and it's like, oh, huge deal. But, it's interesting to see because I always enjoy doing it. But I find myself going like, yeah, it just happens a lot more than probably most people think about, and it's awesome. I like the stories behind the stuff more than I like the actual items. Sometimes, not that I don't like the items, it's just like finding stuff in, like you said, closets and what have you. That's pretty weird, it's and weird in a good way. I love the backstory. I've always been here for 30 years and haven't been touched. There's dust on it, all this stuff, and that to me is worth. There's no intrinsic value you can put on that. I love that stuff. The stories and all that are far supersede the retail on it. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's and see, I will say this. People always ask. I get questions about that all the time. When you're involved as a kind of like your way of providing for your family and business. I hate calling things business, but whatever you want to call it. You find yourself the perception of items changes a little bit, right? Because you look at it, and maybe I think it's also me like scaling back my desire for items, because if I kept everything I bought, I would be broke, right? Not broke, but it would be, it'd be a hard thing to do. So I really have to kind of block myself off from liking stuff so much and just pass it along. But it's interesting when you're in that space, is because you view things differently. You appreciate them the same, at least I do, but you look at it more of, okay, that's that's going to be the electric bill in 3 months or what. That's weird, right? But it's just how you look at things when you're in the business of selling those things. And the outside looking in, it's like, wow, I like that because I want to go display it and it's going to look cool. But when you get involved with it, it kind of diminishes it a little bit, I guess, because you have to, unless you just want to go broke. But yeah. Anyway. So that's just my opinion on that stuff. it's I got to be careful because I can get wrapped up in that stuff easily. And I'm very impulsive, like with everything. It's like I want to go do this, and I go head deep. I mean, I don't just go like, oh, let's go buy a fishing pole. It's like, no, I'm buying the fucking canoe. I'm buying the waders. I'm buying. All of a sudden, this $200 habit turns into a $5,000. What just happened? But it's just how it is with me sometimes. Man, one of the best recently was that Goodwill and Punch Card Vintage Green. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So, used to be, speaking about Goodwill, there used to be tons of stuff you could get at Goodwill. I mean, and I guess to this day, still here and there you can. But first of all, Goodwill is a nonprofit organization. People donate things to Goodwill, and then they sell them to open up more stores. The goal is to get stuff to people at reasonable prices, clothing, and what have you, with an asterisk. Because what Goodwill has found is that people have donated things that are worth a substantial amount of money, and so they then either put it on auction sites or they mark it up in their store, which I have no problem with. It's just nowadays that the Goodwills are really, I mean, outside of maybe buying, even their clothing is more expensive than it used to be. Used to be you could find dollar T-shirts here and there. Now it's like $2 to $5, whatever. It's more, and they're basically cutting people out of reselling, which is I'm on. Cutting people out of reselling, right? Which is fine, but they've kind of upped their prices on a lot of stuff, and especially a lot of their high. If they find something that they know is worth some money, they'll put it at auction, and that's smart. That's smart for them because they're really helping people out, right? But Goodwills and and still garage sales were two big places to find that stuff, and now it's slim pickings unless you just get lucky, right? Which is that's why I kind of quit doing that, because it was like, that or you go to a garage sale and you're like, man, this is priced higher than I'd price it. Kind of one of those deals. Yeah. Goodwill fashion is chic for some reason. People are like, they want to look like they, wear whatever Goodwill stuff. Stuff is trendy, right? One guy wears it on TV and all of a sudden, oh, Goodwill stuff is popular, It's funny how the fashion trends are just all driven by who wore what, when, why, and how, and all that. Yeah, man, I've been to Goodwill before. I rarely go in there. I mean, because I have no reason to, for one. Now, I donate stuff. We've donated stuff to Goodwill and Salvation Army, like clothes and things like that, that we don't need anymore. But outside of that, kind of, there's nothing really to go there for because of what you just said. Just it's like you go in there and all you see. Here's what you see when you walk into Goodwill. And I'm not knocking this for people doing this, but this is what happens. You'll see people going down the aisles, and you'll see them doing this, price checking everything with eBay or whatever, and that's smart to do. Depending upon what you're doing, it's almost to the point to where it's that's all that's there. So it's kind of like people will wait they know when they restock all the stuff, they know all the schedules, they have their rounds, which is all smart. It's just kind of taking the luster out of it. It's just like, it's just kind of, what's the word I want to use? Not say fun's a bad word. It's just like when everybody starts doing something, it becomes just like blah. It's just like, I'm not going to get involved in it. So yeah. The new desperate. Let's see what he says. Also found custom Thor painting. Wow. A woman brought in her recently deceased husband's complete Thor collection. I listened to her story. Oh, wow. The Thor painting. That's cool. Vintage stock. For those that don't have vintage stock, which I don't know if it's national or if we have it around here. So I don't know how far they reach. But that's I'm online. Sorry. But that is another store that, every once in a while you could find some stuff there. The big gripe to people with vintage stock is, they are like, and I hate knocking their business. I'm not knocking them, but if you take something to vintage stock and say it's $100 item, they're going to give you like $20 for it. I mean, literally. I mean, maybe if you're lucky. It depends on what it is. So then they'll mark it like 20, really really high. Which I'm not knocking what they do. I'm just saying vintage stock. If you want to sell toys or vintage stuff, I would never go to vintage stock, and I would never. Not, I said not knocking them. So. For somebody who needs more money, I would never go to vintage stock or those type of places, because it's not that they're not against that, they're so, it's just they don't care. They just have a program where they don't care what the item is. They're paying 20 to 30% of the item on average, I would think, maybe a little more depending on what it is, and that's what they do. They're not in the business of marketing like, oh, we're going to sell all vintage Star Wars or GI Joe Transformers. They just sell everything. So they don't have the outlet basically to sell it at, so they have to wait to get those prices. Whether it's somebody like me or another store, when somebody comes and sells it to me, say it's a $1,000 item or whatever it may be, depending on what it is, and I'm throwing out a hypothetical, it would, I'm like in more in the 60 to 70% percentage, which is really good. But then again, I can sell it pretty fast, right? I mean, I have the outlet, or other people have the outlet as well, not just me. So it makes it a lot easier and a peace of mind. Those places, they're just kind of going to hang on to it forever, and hopefully they get a price for it, but they're not into it for anything, right? They're into $1,000 piece for $300, and they don't really take offers, from my understanding, things like that. So it is what it is. But those kind of places are usually for people that need money fast, like pawn shops, kind of thing, and also, they just have a different model, right? It's is what it is. Let's see. Brian, no, but I did see that they were grading it. I looked on CES the other day. Some of their items, they show me a queue, and it's there. It's there. All I could attest to is all the items that I've sent in, they have received them. That's all I can attest to, because, but no, it's there. So that's all I know. And that's all I really care about, to be honest with you. I want to make sure they receive the item, right, and that they clarify they've got the item. That way there is no, hey, we didn't get it, we lost it, blah, blah, blah. That's what bothers me more than anything. Because when I send stuff into CAS, it's always signature required and things like that, and insured and all that, because I want to make sure that there is no discrepancy of we did not get it, or that wasn't yours, or whatever. I don't mess with. But anyway, and that goes for everybody that has things pending. As soon as I find out, when they let me know, hey, this is done, I'm sending it off, or or they're shipping it, if you will, I will let them know, and then it will be done. I mean, I will say they're extremely backed up, and they have been backed up for a while, mainly on loose stuff. They have two departments, right? Like loose and I said two tiers, or two, whatever you want to call it, loose and box. The box stuff and the carded stuff usually gets done quicker. I say with an asterisk. The loose stuff usually takes longer, because there's so much loose to be graded. I mean, if you can imagine, people finding, say in grandma's attic, they find, you can get, 100 of these loose complete figures in decent shape. You send those in, multiply that times tens of thousands of people in the country, and you have your backlog. Carded figures, not so much, right? You're going to have some, probably, here or there, but you're not going to have near as many as these. So that is your bottleneck on, in my opinion, and I pretty much verify that with CS, why they take, and AFA, why they are behind always with loose. And there are ways around that if you want to pay more. But here we go again. You're going to end up spending $100 or not more on a loose figure, and that's probably going to push it over for most people. Let's see. I don't know about 6 months. They were at one time. From this rumors, because I can't. They never. Well, who was it that told me the other day? AFA, if you look on their website, I'm going to actually read this off. And usually, and I say this with a grain of salt, because when you have basically two companies that are in competitive space, what happens is, and this is unless somebody's loyal to one or the other, right? Unless you have brand loyalty, which there is, but a lot of people, including dealers and people that are just selling things that just want it back as quickly as possible, they're gonna choose whichever option they think is gonna get done the quickest, right? Because they're around the same price points. So if I go to AFA or say AFA, and they are like, hey, we're 4 months, 5 months behind, whatever. Guess what? I'm going to go look at CES next, or vice versa. And I'm going to choose the quickest option. And what happens is it usually balances out because, everybody goes to one, then everybody goes to the other, and it's all. So right now, having said that, on AFA's website, unless they change something, let's see what they say. It says, okay, this is the update, by the way. This is AFA. They said they have some COVID issues. A couple people got COVID. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Current delays and turnaround times. This is AFA's website. Loose express grading, these are tiers, are 3+ months in additional to normal turnaround. So what that means is if your normal turnaround was, say, 30 days, well, guess what? You tack on 3 months at the end of that. So you're at 4 months or thereabouts. I mean, that's what they're saying. And in my experience with grading, it's always longer than shorter. It just so CS is similar in a similar situation. So they're both backed up, especially with COVID and this time of the year when everybody probably tried to send in stuff to get done before Christmas to be able to sell, right? Or for their gift for their husband or their wife or whatever it may be. I tried to do that. I sent some items off in October, and they received the items, talking about AFA, they received the items, and I hit them up about a month and a half later because I was like, hey, what's the deal? Not what's the deal. Like, hey, just checking in because I never get in anybody's ass. I don't pressure anybody. I hate doing that shit. It's just not me. I don't like people doing it to me, so therefore I don't want to, be that way. So they basically said, oh, yeah, by the way, we forgot to send out a message that we're behind 3 months. This happened while I was submitting my stuff, so it wasn't on their website, but still it fell into that. That's why I just said, hey, can you just send it back to me and refund all my grading costs? And they said, sure, no problem, because I wasn't going to wait 4 months to get things graded, especially over the holidays, right? I mean, holidays is like, peak time to sell stuff. And, you come into February or March, it's kind of slow, right? I mean, typically people are paying off their bills and things like that. It's typical retail stuff. Not knowing what's going on with the COVID mess. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff going on in the world right now. And by the way, it all trickles down to me, to you, to everybody else. With the COVID, all that stuff, it leaks from the top down, like really, like from the governmental level, like all the mandates, all that stuff, everything comes down, and it goes all the way down to the top to bottom, right? So can't get around some of that stuff. Unfortunately, online, it makes it a lot easier for me to do that. Having a storefront, which I used to have, could have been problematic. Although in Oklahoma we don't have a lot of restrictions because it's a small population and just the climate here is different than California or wherever. And I'm glad I don't live there. There we go. There's my COVID talks. Let's see. Let's see. It says, time to go into the grading business, right? I'm looking at some little comments. AFA figs now with COVID. Oh, great. Yeah, both these companies are reputable. They just had a couple of people with COVID, and we don't really know. I don't think anybody really knows the lifespan of that COVID stuff, on plastic, and I don't think it's that long. So, I mean, regardless, I'm sure they took care of it. They probably work in very good conditions and sanitize and all that. By the time it gets to you anyway, it's gonna be months later, whatever, weeks later. So hopefully, okay. What else we got here? Just stay away from APG. Brian, I've heard that before. I never want to out anybody or say anything bad about anybody. I have heard that before. I've never had direct experience with them. I have heard what people have said, so I'm not going to whatever. I can say with everybody, use your best judgment. I think AFA and CES right now are people that I've had very little issues with, and that's the ones I would recommend. So, yeah. It says, what's that? Okay. Look at some comments here. Oh, talking about acrylic. Tons of acrylic companies out there. AFA and CS, they sell acrylic. Another one good is GW Acrylics. Check them out. They do strictly acrylic. They don't do any grading. All great companies. All great acrylic. I think it's probably all the same grade, and probably I think GW probably sells it to those guys. I don't know, but that's what I've heard. So, Merry Christmas, Carl. Yes. That's what he says. Any plans to do one of those auction day style again like 8 months ago? That was fun. It was fun. And I've been talking about this for a while. In a business model or supply chain or whatever you want to call it, not to get educational based. You have the whole process, right? And when you have a chink in that armor or chink in a bad link in that chain, it's a bottleneck, right? So my issue has always been not about product, because I usually can find it or usually have it. Not about overhead, because we don't have a lot of overhead. Not about audience, because obviously we have a very, very great audience. It has been about the quantity. So I have like pretty much a go time. I mean, I can stay up here for hours and sell stuff. It's the back end that will absolutely drive you insane. And by back end, I mean the shipping of it. Shipping 20 items may not seem like 20 to 25 items may not seem like a big deal. And it's definitely not. It's just you have to have the facility, like to have all the equipment and the materials to do it, and these things, and you also have somebody to help you. So that's my biggest drawback. I could sell a lot more stuff and do different styles of things if I had help on the back end. The problem with the help on the back end is you have to have somebody you can trust, and that and things like that, and that actually want to work, and not just talk about toys all day or whatever it is. And I'm not suggesting that that's what would happen. I'm just saying that it needs to get done. And I kind of burn myself out in that way. I get stuff shipped out pretty quickly. I try my best, but I'm not going to, my goal is to not be here all next day shipping stuff. I want to get it done early in the morning, or have somebody else be involved in that, or I can do other things to manage my time better, whether it be looking for stuff to buy, traveling, buying stuff, or spending time with family, whatever it may be, to get that out to where I can actually have a higher ceiling of quantity and get it out, because I'm not going to sit here all next day and ship out 100 items or 50 items. It ain't happening. I'm sorry. I don't have the I've done it so long. I'm just like, that's like my boiling over point. So if I had more help doing that, I have a lot more stuff I could put out every sale. Probably make it an hour and a half sale, or maybe an hour and 15, 20 minute sale. Double the time, double the items, so we do 40, 50 items. It's just right now, it seems to work best where we're at. But I want to do some more style auction stuff if I could. It's all about just having the support crew to do it, because it's just too much to handle for one person, or just two people even is too much to handle. So I say too much to handle. It could be done. It doesn't make for a efficient use of time for me. So there you have it. Yeah, I see. Here's the thing, and it drives me insane about, and I'm not getting into like a political type of situation. It really just drives me insane that I'm willing to pay somebody like a decent amount of money just to help me ship stuff. And I mean, I'm talking about just boxing the stuff up and getting it ready. I'll do all the label stuff. Just get the damn boxes ready for me, right? Have 50, 100 boxes there. I'll just write down make sure the name's right on it, and make the weight and the measurements on it. That way I know what everything is. Simple, right? I say simple. It's a little bit of work, but it's not rocket science. Then I'll do the rest. Here's your, and I'll pay him. I'm one of those people that always grew up in a. First of all, I grew up in a construction business my family owned, and we found that unlike other places, that if you pay people, they want to stay around. But if you don't pay people, and I say don't pay them, you don't pay them, are not, trying. It's a symbiotic relationship, right? If you pay them more, they want to work for you, right? That's how it is. And if you're quabbling over $1 an hour to pay somebody, and like you think that you're being a miser over that, I mean, I get it. You're saving money, but nobody's gonna want to work for you, right? You pay them what you think they're worth, and then you eventually bump it up some more, right? Because they're doing a good job for you. They're making you money. They're saving you money, right? That's the point. So I'm willing to do that. I've always willing to do that. It's just nobody wants to freaking work. It's just they want to get on the phones or mess around. I'm just like, man, this is like a 2 or 3 hour day. You can make $50 or something like that. You can't make that much at freaking McDonald's all day long. I'm not knocking McDonald's. I'm just saying after taxes and all that stuff, you can't. Here anyways, because the way it works, the minimum wages and stuff like that. So it's just like, and then we have people that want to bitch about not being able to find a job. I'm like, what more can you do? I guess people just want to give you free money. I'm like, well, that ain't working. Not for me, it ain't. Because. But anyways, there's my worker rant. It's just hard to find anybody that wants to work. So there you have it. Yeah, it does. Really used to enjoy your part sales. Oh, you know what? I thought about that the other day. Let me put that on my to-do list for next time. I can't do it. I can't put it together this quickly. But I was thinking about that because I was looking in storage and I had a ton of parts. I mean, Falcon parts, AT-AT parts, X-Wing, all, those type of things, right? Parts sale. Okay, I'll do that, and I'll do like an all parts sale one of these days because I enjoyed doing that actually. Because I've got a lot of it and people need them, $5 part, $10 part, whatever it is. Maybe they need it for their complete, and that's a good way for me to clear out a bunch of stuff. It's not real expensive, and it's easy to ship. It's a win. Thank you for reminding me. But yes, very hard to find. What's up, Joseph Snyder? How are you? But yes, to answer your question, to follow up, hard to find it. But the entire, that's there. I'm not saying that all those people are like that, but there is an entitlement thing out there, and and listen. And this is what's funny is when we talk about that. Here's some general, which I always call the human, especially Americans, and I could say it across the board, is that we possess so much intelligence to do things, but only when we want to do them, right? So, for instance, let's say, and I'm not using this in a derogatory manner. I'm just saying this is how it happens. Because people are smart enough to realize this. They realize that if you're on unemployment or on some kind of government-sponsored help program, right? I'm not talking about disabled people, things like that's different, right? Because that's but they realize that they're getting paid X amount of dollars per week, right? Well, in their mind, why the hell would they go to work part-time at Subway when they're making more sitting at home playing Xbox? I'm being funny. I'm not diminishing or making fun of that. But you see what I'm saying. So they'd rather, and which is smart. Why would you, but that's a work, on the other side, that's a work ethic thing where that's pretty whack, right? It's like, it's like, come on, that's a smart thing to do because you're making more money, but it's also pretty freaking lazy. But to each their own. But it's just funny how people are smart enough to recognize that when it comes to money and their own expenditures and their own finances. But when somebody is going to offer something to do something, it's like, nah, I can make more money sitting at home and doing that. I'm just like, okay. Fine. That's not the kind of person I'd want to hire. But hey, whatever. That's because who knows, the next job 2 doors down could pay 50 cents more an hour, and I'm going down there. I'm leaving you high and dry. Okay, keep doing that. You probably won't work your way up the corporate ladder very far doing that, but whatever, Yep, I pay some of my guys $30 an hour, and they get comfortable and so lazy. It's a shame. And it depends on where. I know you're up in Illinois. It's probably different than down here. $30 per hour is probably a little different than it is here because we're, obviously cost of living here is a bit lower. But still, I get the point. I get the point of that. It's just going on. It's like, it's even hard. Like, I think what you're saying, echoing, is like, it's hard to even find somebody that for a good amount an hour, and I don't know if that's what that is, but I mean, $30 an hour is nothing to shake a stick at. That's a good wage. It's like, seriously? I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Right. Make your, you gotta, whatever you gotta do. But I just find that the work ethic, has really gone down in this country, and across the board. And a lot of it's because of government, because they're like, hey, we'll do this, this, and this. And a lot of it, I think, is just the culture now is the about me and the me generation, and I get what I want all the time, and all this, whatever. But anyways, I digress on that, but that's just my opinion. But hey, and everybody, what's funny is, everybody thinks that like I saw this the other day. Where was it? Small business owners, restaurant owners, whatever it may be, like these owners out in California that are apparently, some of them in some places are not allowed to serve food, or they, whatever. A lot of places are with the COVID are in real big problems because of finances. Can't find decent help at all. See, but see, it's almost like you'd rather just do it your damn self, because if you hire somebody to do something and they don't do it right, you got to pay them for messing up. That's the thing, is you not only are you having to deal with correcting an issue or doing it to your standard, you got to make up for your time, for your lost time, pay them and go do it right. So you've lost twice. You basically paid in that situation, right? So, but back to what about the businesses being shut down is everybody thinks that like small business owners, from me to the coffee shop down the street, the mom and pops, they think that like, oh, anybody owns a business is just a billionaire. I got news for you. No, that's not the way it works. Walmart, yes, not knocking Walmart, but Walmart's in pretty good shape, right? But I think everybody's like, all these small businesses, they can afford it. Like, really? Okay. When we're having, not me, but a lot of small businesses compete with big people. Like your local restaurants, they compete with whether they want to say it or not, they compete with McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's, Whataburger, Brahms. They're all in competition because they're doing the same thing. Now, what I do is a little differently, because Walmart doesn't sell what I sell per se, or Target or what have you. So it's a little different, but still, it's a lot more work, you know what I'm saying, doing small business stuff. Or any business stuff for that matter, especially doing it all yourself. And everybody just thinks that small businesses are just like, oh well, they can take that hit. Like, yeah, can you take that hit? Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't, depending on what it is. But just a little different perception there. What you said is exactly what I did on the Chesapeake Arena. Oh, what happened at Chesapeake Arena? I'm trying to figure out what's going on, because I'm the entire beer system and threw on the tool belt to make sure it was done right. Well, I mean, unfortunately, here's the thing: if you're a manager or an owner, an operator, and you do something and you don't feel comfortable with it, especially if you've had problems before, you're damn right I'm going back over it. Especially like if no, it's just too much to risk, right? Because I mean, it's not only the fact that maybe something goes wrong, right, and you get that call. It's also just a pride thing, right? It's like you want those people to know, like, hey, I did it the first time, and stuff does happen, but I did the first time, and to me, it's just you never get a second chance to make a first impression kind of a thing. Is a very good thing to live by because sometimes you only get one chance, especially like a place like Chesapeake or a big outfit, man. You know those people talk. You know they talk to the whatever vendors or the other places that do that, bars, restaurants, whatever they do. They have all these people are in circles, right? They know everybody, at least the people that are like just like me. It's like I know other dealers, I know other people that they're in the same space that overlap circles and things. They do the same thing. It's not like one person is like running a bar in a huge city or something, and like all of a sudden they know nothing about anybody else going on. No, they all know each other or they know of, so they're going to have recommendations. Hey, use this dude because he did a good job. Don't use this guy because he did a bad job, or I had problems with him. He wouldn't come out and fix his shit. They all talk. I mean, it's not like they're just like oblivious to it. All right, you're damn right. If I put my name on something, I mean, if somebody, that's what I very rarely have, and I knock on wood. I very rarely have problems. I'm talking like 1%, probably 0.5%, and it's usually on something. And honestly, most of the times, it's not of my doing per se. It could have been. It's subjective. It's usually something with the post office or something like that or whatever. And I usually just take care of it. I just like what? It's not because I look at it like this. When someone makes a purchase from me, I'm gonna do generally to the best of my ability to get it to them unscathed. And then if something happens, I take out insurance on those items, usually depending on the price. $5 items, no. But I mean, my point is I take out insurance on that stuff. That way, if something does happen, I can take care of the buyer and I can take care of myself, generally speaking. Now, it doesn't work out all the time because post office sometimes is a dickhead and they won't reimburse, but that's just the name of their game. They deny, and you got to send thousands of letters before they even do anything, and sometimes they still won't do it. But that's the back, and a lot of people won't do that because it costs money, right? Well, that's also wrapped into the cost of doing business too, a little bit. Like for instance, PayPal. There's fees associated with PayPal. A lot of people want or request that the buyer pays for that, and I don't have a problem with that, and I appreciate it, but I don't demand it because it is what it is, like a credit card fee. It is what it is. So I don't really it's kind of the difference between running things as a business and running things just as somebody selling stuff online, which there are advantages to that. There are a lot of advantages to being a private seller. You don't have to worry about the tax stuff so much. You don't have to worry about, for instance, private seller sells a bunch of stuff, has a problem with somebody, and a big huge deal. It's a fake item. It's whatever. $1,000 item, whatever. Guess what? They don't care if they get backlash in the community because they're done. They just sold their grandma's attic. They don't care. Me, if I did that or anybody else, it's a bad deal. You get blackballed, right? You literally will get, people will not do business with you anymore to a certain, I've seen it happen multiple times and it's not worth it. I mean, the only time it would be worth it if it was like $1 million piece or something. And then still would be unethical, but I could see at least somebody doing it, right? Because then you're like, fuck it, I'm out. And you're running away with the money. That at least makes sense, albeit it's still shady as shit, right? I'm just saying. But over at $1,000 item or something, it would never be worth it for anybody in the collecting hobby to do that if they wanted to continue doing it, right? Yeah, it's that's a good point. I hate being a manager anymore. It's basically babysitting high-paid professionals at the company I work for. It's draining. You don't feel like you actually get anything done anymore. That's true. That's true. Especially, yes, it is. Tuscan, yeah, with the Chesapeake. I mean, that's a big deal, right? That's huge. I mean, we're talking. That's where the Thunder play. That's where the rock concert. That's where everything happens. It's the biggest. It's arguably the biggest venue in the state outside of like football stadiums, which that's seasonal anyway. So because it's now babysitting adults, I'd rather babysit my kids at home. I don't have to pay for them. Yeah, the struggles are real. It won't be worth having small business in the future. That's the thing is, it's a good point. It really depends on what it is. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I think there'll always be room for certain services that can't ever really be done outsourced, like service based stuff that you can't do. For instance, dentist, right? I can't go online and fix my teeth. Healthcare stuff. You can't. Those things will always be in demand. I can't. There's certain things that like what I do. They have small stores have really phased out because everybody's online, and especially in the COVID world, you can just sit at home and order stuff, which happens to work out for me. But I've been doing it for a long time before that. So, but yes, small businesses are getting choked off every day. It sucks, and especially with whatever happens in 2020 with regime changes apparently happening and all the things going on. It's kind of scary for a lot of people because, a lot of people put everything in their small business. Like, and rightfully so, man. It's like you go all in. You just do a little bit you go half-ass, you're going to get half-ass, right? You got to go all in. You got to be invested. If you don't have enough confidence to invest in yourself, you probably shouldn't be doing anything, right? You shouldn't be doing it at all. Or maybe just make it a side gig, and that's it. Upset. UPS sent me one of the package I got from Roman to Deb Mail. They're worse than ever this Christmas. Wow. Yeah, I'll tell you this. I've had some. Check this out. I waited for an item. I waited for almost 2 months to get something, and the gentleman who sent it from me, I've done a lot of business with. He dropped it off either the next day or the next day after. He's shipped it within reason. You know what I mean? And it took 2 months to get here. It's set in Ohio for apparently via tracking forever. And it's not his fault. It's not my fault. Obviously there's got to be, I never got to that point, but there's a cutoff at some point where I would expect some mediation there where it'd be like, listen, it's been 6 months. They don't know where it's at. I don't have the item. You don't have the item. It's kind of one of those, what are we doing here? That never got to that point. But and for me, it's even more of an issue when I get stuff because my business is dependent upon it. So it's like if I don't get that item, I'm out that. Not only am I out the item, I'm out the potential sale of that item as well, which is obviously there's a little bit of like a retail on that as well. So it can be frustrating, but I usually haven't had a lot of problems with them. As many people bitch about the post office and UPS, they still have a very high percentage rate of getting your items there. It's just this time of year with COVID, they probably got just completely slammed. I went to the post office and saw the most people I've ever seen at the post office for like 3 weeks or almost a whole month. It was after Thanksgiving into the few weeks leading into Christmas. We're talking 15 people deep in line, if not more, with one person working the teller counter at the post office. But see, what I do, and a lot of people, and everybody does things differently. What I do is, some people, what they'll do is, they will take, here's how I work for items when I ship them, right? We have, tonight, we'll have stuff for sale. Whatever sells will typically go out, will be boxed up and shipped within 1 to 2 days. My goal is the next day, but sometimes I got to get the right size box and all that stuff, so it may take a little bit longer, but I usually try to get it out within 2 days. 2 days to a business handling or handling is about normal. It's reasonable, right? So then a lot of people, what they'll do is, and they don't know this, is if you have a lot of stuff to ship, 20 items or so, they'll schedule a UPS a pickup at their house or business, right? So they'll come to their house and pick up all their stuff. Well, here's the reason I don't do that. For one, I want to be in control or in possession of those items until the very last point. Meaning when I drop these off at the post office, right, I am not relying upon somebody else to drop them off, which I'm not suggesting that's, they're incompetent. It's just, if something happens, I want it to be happening on my watch. That way I know it was my fault. If something happens on their watch, for all we know, they could step on the damn box, right after they take it from my residence. Then all of a sudden it's, well, we got it that way. Right. You know, that way there's no, I actually physically take them to the post office. I don't schedule pickups. And that can be a pain in the ass. I mean, it really is. You know, try taking 20 items to the post office. I mean, it's not like, you know, it can be a pain, but I do that because I don't want anything to happen to those items. I want to mediate the risk as much as possible. That's my goal. So that's why I do that. And then, you know, after that, I physically take it and drop it off. You know, I don't have to wait in line. They have a little section there. I can drop the items off, and then it's, you know, there's cameras, and nobody's going to steal anything. So I'm good at that point. I feel like I've done the most I can. And then if something happens after that, then we deal with it. So that's why you have some extended period times with people that are selling a lot of things, not just toys, anything, because they schedule drop pickups. So they may have an extra day or two of lead time because that guy who picks up may pick up in the afternoon or evening. Well, you've just wasted that entire day, and then hopefully next day it goes out. So it's, you know, it's an extra day of shipping, and also it's an extra day of unknown what's going to happen to your package because somebody may have made a mistake. You know, postal workers, they're not bad people. You know, they're just people. But, you know, do they really care about your item like you care about it? Probably not, and that's just human nature. But I want to make sure it gets there, you know, to the post office. So anyway, lots of political talk there and post office talk. Not political talk, just bitching about people working. Anyways, I'm going to hop off. We got 3 hours to the next sale. And then we got 4 carded Star Wars figures. We got a 12 back, a 20 back, and 2 Power of the Force figures. I've got a couple modern items, some loose complete items, some card. I'll see what I can throw together for a nice little sale. We got 2 movie posters, some really cool stuff for us. Now we're going to end the year strong. This is the last sale. Let me make sure. We're going to do, this is going to be the last sale of 2020. Last sale because I'm probably not doing New Year's Eve. You guys have fun on New Year's Eve. And, you know, I won't ruin your New Year's Eve festivities by, you know, listening to me go on and on. Okay. All right, guys. You tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Central. We'll catch you then on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, adios. Have a good day. We'll see you in a few hours. Fade it out.